Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. About a week or so ago, somewhere around that time, certainly within the fortnight, we spoke about Senator Omo-Agege and his fate at the hands of his colleagues in the Senate. Well, by now you know that the court has pronounced on the matter, and it's like the Senate decision has been thrown out. Now, when we talked about the matter the first time around, we had a couple of lawyers, and we just were looking at how this was likely to go. What do you make of this? And they had said categorically at the time, effectively, what has now been said by, a court and a judge. In this regard, I'm happy to welcome back Dr. Fasi Yusuf, lawyer and communications consultant, and Mr. Malaki Ugumadu, National President of CDHR. Gentlemen, you're welcome again to that same conversation.
Thank you very much, Yori. Thank you very much, Yori.
Remember, we had that conversation to Fasi.
And I welcome my colleague here.
To that very conversation. Now, how could they have got it so badly wrong? Because you were, as lawyers, you examined the facts. People called in and said, among other things, some of things you had said, that, look, this will be tantamount to suspending all the constituents that elected Omo-Agege, and so it had to be flawed. Now, the court has said that the whole Senate action has done violence to the Constitution. What does this now mean for other officers of the legislature that have suffered this same fate, but perhaps were a bit more gentle and did not, pursue the matter?
Well, there's a dictum there's a legal maxim that says equity is the vigilant. If you sleep on your right, too bad for you.
Yeah.
So perhaps because he's a lawyer, he knows his right, he knows how to go about pursuing his right. But the fundamental thing is that, if lawyers can agree on a particular matter, then there will be no basis for us to approach the court for interpretation. It is because lawyers themselves are not too clear as to the outcome of the position they are taking. And that's why we approach the judiciary for interpretation. And besides, I always canvass, there are 5 realms. The first one, the executive; the second one, the legislature; the third one, the judiciary; the fourth, the press; and the fifth one, with the people. So it's been there since time immemorial. Even if you look into medieval period, the Roman Empire and all the rest, there's always a court. There was always a court and all the rest. So it is there, it is entrenched there. So whoever, you can go there to ventilate your opinion, and it is the responsibility of the court to listen to you.
Malaki, perhaps why this is, particularly striking is that the whole body, it's all about democracy and, as, Fasi is just pointing out, and it's all about everybody safeguarding his own area so that no one place is overloading it over everybody without any check whatsoever. So for them to now adopt such heavy-handed kind of a sanction on one of their own, it speaks volumes, especially as now it has been said that you overdid it. It's not that you can't, rein in erring members, but then again, like everything, there are, shall we say, measures.
If you therefore take steps that are beyond those measures, it becomes not just an illegality. In the eye of the law, it will be deemed that it was never taken in the first place. In effect, Omo-Agege was right.
And the Senate can't afford to be finding itself in that kind of a position, considering that there must be at least 20, 30, 40, 50 lawyers in that house.
Now, but if you have these lawyers who are now more preoccupied with the business of appropriating salaries and emoluments for themselves and caught in the web of the politics that have completely weakened the beauty of legislature, which is anchored on debate and fine points of legislation, enough to drive the process forward and move us a bit away from where we find ourselves. You're likely not going to have anything different from what is happening. But please, let's face the facts a lot more seriously. It's gratifying that the court has intervened. And kudos to Honorable Justice Nnamdi Dimba, a doctorate degree holder in law, who had risen to the occasion and then given this judicial pronouncement. But it wasn't,
so
it
this
wasn't
is,
unexpected.
this is not one of those where the guys who lost this time can now appeal.
No, but appeal has been lodged. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Look, the speed with which this is happening also tells you about the kind of class struggle that could be, you know. Omo-Agege went to court less than 48 hours after his, less than 48 hours after his suspension.
Before his suspension?
Well, let's say immediately after his suspension. In short, the speed was so
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 like these
fast.
guys know what is at stake.
Of course. Now,
And this whole matter about not sleeping on your rights.
the only challenge I have, for which reason we are not amused by this development, is that we seem not to be interested in learning at all from history this time around, from even judicial precedents, enough to guard the hallowed chambers, an arm of government sufficiently equipped and have easy access to latest judicial decisions regarding their operations. Look, as far back as 2003, Senator Aton Zeribe had gone to court and successfully challenged his suspension. Dino Melaye sustained successfully this same Dino Melaye that moved the motion for the suspension of, successfully challenged his suspension in the House of Representatives. Ali Ndume had a Federal High Court pronouncement in his favor against his suspension. There's the only female member of the State House of Assembly in Bauchi State, Honorable Dano, successfully challenged her suspension from the Bauchi State House of Assembly and repeated the same victory at the Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal is the highest judicial division or hierarchy that had decided on this issue of suspension since the gale
So I get your point.
of suspension.
Why don't we want to learn from all these precedents?
That is the point. Now, you know, we said they had appealed. The Senate had appealed. Look, it's not in all cases that you must file an appeal. The Senate should also be told, I don't want to say warned, that you're not at liberty to continue to fritter away public funds, because it is not Saraki's money that will be used to file that appeal. It is not Melaye's money. It is funds of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which in any case is a party in this suit, and by Section 241 has the right to appeal against the decision. But the point is this: if the Court of Appeal had already decided and settled the law with respect to the powers of the legislature, whether at the federal level or State House of Assembly, to suspend its members, what then will be the purpose of this appeal against the decision of a trial court, Federal High Court, Abuja Division, to the same Court of Appeal? My colleague will tell you that we are bound by the rules of stare decisis.
The answer to that is that
What?
Is that they are trying to buy time, and secondly, they want to inflict psychological blow, and they want to attack the successor or the person that has succeeded. They want to attack him psychologically so that they weigh him down.
And that's why we're warning.
And they weigh him down. Because to them, they believe that. You remember, they even wrote to the Chief Justice of the Federation.
Yeah.
That the insurance of their cases.
And part of the judgment was that the whole thing was an affront on the judiciary, in the opinion of the judge.
Of the judge. But they said it was an affront on the legislation. that the judiciary should be wary of making any incursion into their matters. I wish to any right-thinking member of the society is balderdash.
Yes,
It's very sad, like my colleague said, that look, when we had seen a pronouncement of the Court of Appeal, why then do you have to approach the same Court of Appeal to adjudicate or perhaps to review what the High Court has done? Or would they want the Court of Appeal to reverse itself or what? Or do they want to go to the Supreme Court so that at the end of the day, the legislative section, will have gone?
Exactly.
Because
you can't,
so,
you can't go express to the Supreme Court and get them to react by the second or third day.
Unless, because very soon, the Court of Appeal will go on vacation. Another 1 or 2 months. Now that they've gone on vacation, they will not come back until September, October.
So really, this therefore becomes the whole question about what is the basis. We understand, as you've just explained,
to me,
to
me, it is legislative rascality.
There you go. That
Yes.
expression, I was wondering when it was going to come out. Because people who know these things are now manipulating the very guidelines, procedures, regulations, rules.
Okay, let me make further. Sorry, sir.
Let him land, please.
By the time you go to the Court of Appeal, perhaps the matter is dispensed with expeditiously by, say, November, December. They now want to go to the Supreme Court again. So, and there'll be Christmas vacation.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, by February or March, the Supreme Court will rule on it. So where are we?
It's not that easy. For those of us who are active in practice, in the same Court of Appeal, I've got an adjournment for 2018 in 2017. And yet the same matter is postponed to 2019. So once in a year. Now, I'm not saying it's applicable to every judicial division of the Court of Appeal, but I'm giving that as an instance. Let me make 2 legal valid points. The fact that, and that is to also clear some grounds with respect to the intervention of my colleague, the fact that you file a notice of appeal, which is what the Senate has done, does not operate as a stay.
But that was what I wanted to find out. So what does this mean effectively to the parties concerned?
That is one. The 2 is that we have quarreled. We are both quarreled, and I believe we are speaking the minds of thousands of Nigerians who are worried that up till May, well over the first quarter of 2018, the budget of the Federal Republic, the Appropriation Act 2018, has not been passed.
So it goes back to what you're saying is what are the priorities?
Where is the priority scale? How do we situate that? Now, but please allow me to make those points.
Yes.
So if, as my colleague said, the strategy unknowingly is to weigh him out, you now leave the whole essence of legislation, an arm of the government, and focus on some of these trivialities. You will find that at the end of the day, you go to court, you have filed a notice of appeal, and then you're likely going to bring an application to stay. But if these were all declaratory reliefs, there's nothing to stay.
Well,
that's the law.
Exactly.
So, which is why, and you see, the man in question, in the eye of the storm, is actually a lawyer, and I'm sure he's getting some quality advice. Recall that he came back to the same chambers.
And nobody could prevent him.
And now, he will be there. If they were all declaratory reliefs, and you think that you can go to Court of Appeal and stop him from sitting there, I'm sure there are more than 5-10 strategies to undermine those thoughts. So
if only these people were active on what is really important.
So please.
But in the meantime, we have someone on the line. Yakub, good morning.
Good morning, Chief Jerry.
Yes.
Good morning, Malak and then Dr. Fazli.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chief Jerry, you see, this is unfortunate. As Malaki said earlier in the course of the discussion, the same Dino Melaye suffered same thing as Malaki said. We all know that. And then he took the House of Assembly to court. Court give the judgment they don't have right to.
House of
But I would say that if the law even leave the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria here, The standing rule of the Senate as a whole says that you cannot suspend
more than 14
member
days.
more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, 14
Their
days.
own standing rule says so. They still keep it going after their own standing rule, the same that they made for themselves. They go outside it. Now, as Dr. Kasi said earlier that maybe very soon the judiciary they are going to go on a vacation, whatever. Now, the court have already ruled that you have no right to do so, even though they know that before now. They know that. It's just rascality, as the Malaki said earlier. See, now if the judiciary go on a vacation,
yeah.
You now see where people will invade the National Assembly, and then some people will sit down there somewhere. They say they don't have right to invade the National Assembly. When you requested for invasion by talks, because of you violation the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and then you call yourself a senator that makes law for ordinary citizens of this country, and then you as a senator, you disobey the rule. You disobey the rule and the law that you make for the country.
Indeed.
Now, you have to say this.
Yes.
Last time, the Dr. Bukola Saraki as the Senate president, he actually turned to Dr. for Dino Melai. I saw him on television that said
We
Dino
saw that.
Melai.
Yeah.
Are you getting it? Why is it turning to Dr.? You see, all this is a politics. I can tell you, Omo-Agege should not relent. If we require to mobilize the people of that constituency, they should go ahead and invade that National Assembly.
Yes.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Interesting that he refers to that picture we saw.
Yes.
Dr. Bukola Saraki, a medical doctor. He probably, hasn't used a stethoscope in God knows how long. But for effect, he was seen apparently taking the blood pressure of his quote-unquote patient, Dino Melai. So I don't know. This probably ranks right up there with dancing senators, and it's all almost like a caricature. But why these people are deciding that this job that we have put them in, if we voted them in, is for some. It's as trivial as they are purporting to make it. But the courts are saying no. You guys have to get your act together. I guess this is something that we're going to have to live with in this particular Senate because nobody is going to change. And Dr. Saraki constantly refers to the Constitution, that we will see what we can do in this whole matter by the Constitution. We intend to... So...
You see, the unfortunate thing about the present dispensation in the country is that the whole thing was built on fraud and insincerity, lack of cohesion within the ruling party. A party that perpetually at war with itself cannot achieve much. And that is the problem. No matter what the executive is trying to do, if there's no cohesion or there's no unanimity of purpose with the legislation, they will not achieve anything. Because what is happening now is not what Nigerians bargained for. That this is May now. The budget for the year has not been passed. And yet, we see our senators, our rep members going after mundane and irrelevant things. I mean, they're only concerned with themselves.
Yes. And you often hear them talk about their oversight responsibility to everybody else, the executive and all of that. Yeah. No oversight for the Senate. No oversight for the National Assembly.
I wish we could have more of
no oversight.
The Controller General of Customs. Honestly.
Mr. Nzekwe in Omole, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, sir. My contribution is this. It's very sad that we are going through the situation that we are. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I said it's very sad that we are witnessing this kind of developments from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This particular Senate, in my estimation, will go down in history as the worst Senate since the inception of democratic rules in 1999. These guys have left the basic tenets of democracy to pursue mundane activities. Dino Melai has always been a thorn in the flesh of virtually every situation that he found himself. While he was in PDP, he was like an opposition in PDP. The same thing is replicating itself now in APC. And yet, because of their primordial interest They don't want to call one of their erring members who is even bringing democracy to danger to order. Any little thing, the attention they are devoting to Dino, if they devote it to passing the budget, we would have passed that budget by now, not minding whatever excuses they are giving against the Federal Executive Council that the ministers are not responsible or they are not responsive to coming to defend their budget. This is very sad. And this is the only time Nigerians should rise up and call these guys to order. Otherwise, the way they are going, look at the anti-corruption bill that the president sent in 2016. Up till now, none of them, they have not found it fit to debate on that particular bill because they know that if that bill is given attention, majority of them there will be a victim of that particular bill. And they are still accusing the president of not doing the needful in terms of fighting corruption. Yeah. Whereas they are the obstacle to fighting corruption in Nigeria. So Nigerians should wake up and let these guys know that they are there on the behest of Nigerians, not on their own power.
Okay.
This is my submission this morning.
And I thank you very much for it. And as an aside,
yes,
leading from what he said, I don't know how importantly we the people take this kind of a matter, because I'm referring to the attempt to recall Senator Melaye that collapsed. And the way that works is that people will come out and verify signatures and do all of that. And when the time was set for that, they just weren't the numbers. So you then begin to wonder if all of this is not satisfactory, since the people by their actions are not opposing. Because you can't just sit down in your sitting room and be saying that this is totally improper. You say so by your actions, and no such action has been taken.
So less than a fortnight ago, I was here, sir. Thanks to your invitation. And a similar question was posed in a different context. My response was that all over the world, all through history, revolution has always been effected by a comfortable middle class, not the poorest of the poor who live from hand to mouth and are barely at subsistent level. What happened?
So that's your theory,
yes,
about what's going on. That is the same. Firstly, do you have any thoughts on that particular aspect of the matter? The people had the opportunity to shake him up.
Excuse me.
And did not take it.
Excuse me. The situation in Kogi State can never be used to amalgamate or to look at the totality of what is happening in this country. You see, the issue in Kogi was built on fraud. You remember the prelude to that? Bello came second in the primaries. This man does of representative, was it that? Faleke was to be an address. And because Dino saw himself as somebody who should take over, decided not to favor Faleke and pitch his tent with Bello. At the end of the day, things went awry. Bello had his own agenda. Dino Melaye had his own agenda. So the center could not hold. And therefore, what happened there should not be used as any basis, because, like we were told, the referendum or what was conducted there was a fraudulent thing.
So let me hear from Mr. Yetunde, because it looks like in Nigerian politics, the more you look, the less you see.
Allow me to
you still had more to add.
Of course,
I'm going to come straight back to you. Mr. Yetunde in Ilogbo, Osun State, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Go ahead.
I want to contribute to the issue on grant, sir.
We're waiting for you. Mr. Yetunde, please go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. We can hear you.
I want to contribute to the issue on grant.
Okay.
Come on.
You see, it is high time Nigerians demanded for their own rights from the National Assembly led by the Bukola Saraki. Honestly speaking, right from the outset, I love the man, and the way he emerged shows that anybody can just come from anywhere to get what he wants, provided he is being supported by the people. But on the issue the same denominator that has been portrayed, we use in Nigeria has been, don't let me use the bad language here.
Please don't.
But what I want to say in essence is that a day will be a day. If this National Assembly is continuing doing all these things they are doing, a day will be a day that Nigerians will just go there and give them the worst. Sir, hello, sir?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sir. These people would see that we stand there at the National Assembly and on behalf of my people, I'm saying this. Let them come back to their own constituency and ask us, what exactly do you want me to say there? Majority of them will be refuted. When the same denominator cannot come down to Kogi and be saved, the people where he is representing, the people where he is representing is spending their money and he is in the National Assembly all in the name of these people, and he cannot just come there to be saved.
I get the point you're making. Yeah, it's a frustrating concept, I can imagine. Thank you very much for calling in. Sorry, you said I interrupted.
The very explanation I wanted to give to justify, or rather explain why it is literally, apparently difficult for the people to see through an idea that they clearly detest, is precisely what my colleague said. At the moment, the strategy of the Senate is to weigh out the Mr.
Omo-Agege.
Your question was, to what extent would you now think and believe that it is the wish of a people who initially shows the disposition and shows that resentment to oppose a particular situation, and yet when it is time to give effect to that, they chicken
drop
out.
the ball.
It's simple. Weigh them out. And you see, it is important to understand how that was achieved. Look, the process of recall is almost like the process of election. By the Constitution. Go and read it carefully. In short, it may even be much more tedious because it is time constrained. Now, if you subject any person holding onto the shorter side of the stick to that same process in relation to our usual legislators who have already equipped themselves with the weapons of engagement, mark my words, you will therefore understand why everything needed within the Nigerian political setting to win an election is needed to also recall, to also fulfill the process of recall. So, Dino did what? He went to court on that score, pursued it up to the Court of Appeal, by which time many people who were initially enthusiastic about it not just got tired, got demobilized. By reason of that affliction that is always with us, the momentum will be high at the point of initiating those ideas. Take our protest, for instance, fuel increase. The first day, every person is mad about it. We're out there on the street. The second day, they are determined. By the third day, it is not that they are no longer interested. It is that people will need to eat.
Yes, people have to find something.
And then there was a protest move. You know, the police...
This harks back to what you said about the comfortable middle class.
The police miscalculated.
Yes.
When they now started arresting him at that point. People said, we said we want to record him. We didn't tell you to go and kill him.
Yes.
All of those played into the mix.
Wow. Josephine in Aja, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
And your guests over there.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, this issue of Omo-Agege declaration, court declaration, my own issue is that they favor their own. If you see the way the matter was speedily concluded, you will see it. When Abomini Jubrion happened, the presidency did not answer him. And I'm also ashamed with the public that they were not standing up for the right thing. Abomini Jubrion complained about padding budget, everything. When it comes to presidency, because the matter affects the president, they give speedy judgment. But it's unfair because this government has come to show us that they have integrity. If they are doing so, I'm not saying what the Senate did is right, but justice must be everybody. This thing they did, they know it because the service Omo-Agege brought talks to the chambers. He put laws into his hand. Everybody know. So the judgment they gave is for their own. But I'm saying that you do it for what? You do it for us. This called the APC people, they are just fighting, showing muscle for themselves, not for Nigerians. It's what I said them that they'll fight for themselves. They are not fighting for us.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Josephine. I guess we have to leave it the way you put it, these APC people, because why I said that is Nigerians know, they know the foundation APC members, they know the attachment APC members, and
Yori, I think some clarification should be made here. You see, when you approach the court, it's different from approaching the executive. So it all depends on the disposition of the chief judge of a particular, or the admin judge of a particular division. Giving a case to a judge to undo, it all depends on how busy that judge is. And again, the caliber, of course, some of us have always complained that the senior advocates always have an edge over some of us who are not senior advocates. So when a senior advocate appears for you, it's likely to get your case attended to expeditiously.
This lawyer was not a senior. It's not a senior advocate. The one that represented.
So it all depends on the disposition of the judge. The judge might look at the tenuousness of the case. That look, this case is expedient. It is in the interest of the public that it be dispensed with expeditiously. So to the ordinary person outside there, they may not know the nitty-gritty. They may not know all those things that are involved. There's no way the president or the presidency will now dictate to the jury, look, this case should be handled expeditiously, or step this case down. And not, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen.
In fact,
but in any case, as people will say, that look, justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be manifestly done.
And unfortunately, with
the present Chief Justice, well, he has promised, and I think he's doing something great about it. And again, it's computerizing the operations of the Supreme Court. And we believe it will.
But still,
down
the wheels of justice are known to grind slowly.
In Nigeria.
Okay.
And that's why we are trying, at the present administration, the present echelon of the judiciary, trying everything hard to see that things change for the better.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back to continue with your calls and this conversation. Okay, welcome back, and we're looking at the whole scenario of the courts upturning the Senate's punitive action against one of their own. Now, the point that we're also considering here is that the National Assembly is all about making laws for this country, for the society. They remind us about that often enough. And here they are going against the law in their own matter, and not just going against the law, it's for what many people will consider a frivolous reason. You're not doing it because of one of those things that Nigerians have long been calling for you to sign off on. No, it now becomes an ego contest, and it's unfortunate because we were saying off air that Nigeria has not always been like this. It hasn't always been like this, but now we have to call this the modern generation, going back maybe a couple of decades.
And it's getting worse.
And it seems to be getting worse. Where is honor? Where is equity? Where is justice? Where is discipline? All those things.
Decency.
Decency. All those things Buhari was saying before coming into office, that we have to look for again and bring back. It's not going to be business as usual. I'm afraid in a sense you can say that it's been pretty much business as usual in that negative aspect since they came. It's like fighting any change agent almost to a standstill.
Well, let's take it this way. The business of nation building must be a continuum. Regrettably, we've not, in my humble estimation, made as much progress fundamental enough to beat our chests that we have proceeded steadily. However, we must keep learning from the mistakes that we make almost on daily basis.
Intentional mistakes.
Hoping that we don't eventually grind to a halt as we accommodate all of these mistakes.
Because you're calling them mistakes. Malaki, you're calling them mistakes.
Well, for want of better word,
you're calling them mistakes as if we didn't know any better.
Now, if you cast your mind back to let me use another word, indiscretion of Mr. President regarding the leadership of the National Assembly, with whom he was expected to operate in a democratic setting.
Mm-hmm.
He paid little or no attention to that. Indeed, he tried to make a political capital out of the fact that he wouldn't be bothered. Whoever emerges as either the Senate president or the... Now we are harvesting in full basket.
It's been said that was politically naive.
Implication of that indiscretion. To say that these people who are truly in color and in spirit and in behavior, PDP people, from Saraki to all of, including this Omo-Agege.
Yes.
Omo-Agege, with due respect, was the Secretary of Government to Delta State all through Iburistan. Now, so if you did nothing about them and you think that politicians will merely change overnight and be in the same ship with you simply because they've joined your party, that was an indiscretion. And for me, I say we'll continue to learn from those.
Okay.
But the truth is this.
I'm sorry, I got to put someone on who's been waiting for a while. Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu, Abia. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, my Samaritan and our other guests. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Honestly speaking, sir, you say the way our judiciary operates with the Constitution looks somehow, if as some cases in Nigeria belongs to elite and some belongs to the poor. You see, elite student judgment, poor people, adjournment. Look at, like Ivan said, Ivan's always complaining. Come today, come tomorrow. Omo-Agege, within 12 days, judgment. Well, that is Nigeria for all of us. But what is the Senate, I have to tell the Senate that they then go back to the places that the Senate should try and operate according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because a situation whereby they said the Senate agree, they make laws. And there are certain things they do when they come, they put down their order for the day and the next now, as if it's something. These are things that are designed by men and women. But the thing is that the Senate integrity is shaking. The equity and fair play we expect from the Alo Chamber is shaking. They have to sit down and think twice. Thank you very much. Have a blessed weekend in Lagos.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Mazi Okoroafo. Firstly, the whole, it seems that the Senate President, for instance, is not embarrassed about the matter that, look, the relationship going on between him and a senator, in this case, Dino Melaye, goes out of the ordinary, whether it is playfulness, whether it is paddy man, whether it is I got your back, I'm in your corner. It's, by all means, let them have the togetherness that, but this is going beyond the pale.
Look, I've always said it. The Senate President is supposed to be primus inter pares.
Yes.
First among
equals.
But the unfortunate thing we have in this country is like what played out in the animal farm. That all animals are equal.
But some
are more equal than the others.
And that is playing out in the Senate.
We're having the situation where we have a snowball.
One of the characters in
One of the characters in Animal Farm. And that's the situation. Because if the other senators, if they see Saraki as one of them, and they put him there. But the way it is, if Saraki is moving out, you see all of them, almost.
Yes, yes. So
but then you don't have a situation, it's even more than the presidency.
Yes.
Because when Saraki,
they're ganging up.
When the president is going out, how did you see all these ministers behaving like bees around him? But in the case of Saraki, I don't know how you got to that power, how you got that power and not the rest. The same thing in Dogara. So I think the postulation of my colleague is playing out, because maybe the packs of office and all the rest, the fantastically packaged this thing. Otherwise, I mean, somebody told us that, look, the 1 million naira you are seeing is just scratching the surface. We have 13.5 million. And we also have our constituency. And most of them don't want to lose out on that.
Exactly. Mr. George in Ikeja, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to your panelists.
Thank you.
What is happening in the legislature, Uncle Yori, should be an eye-opener to voters. That in 2019, at least 90% of those people should not return to the National Assembly. They have represented the very opposite of what they are supposed to do in this eighth assembly particularly. What Mr. Nzekuda called earlier said is a mind. What is it that the Senate wants? What they want is to punish anybody that attempts to speak the truth. What Omo-Agege said, that law was against the person of the president, is what they are not happy with, and they want to get rid of him. But I want to ask Malaki, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which is a law, why is it that the judges are not applying it and the body of lawyers are not concerned about it? Somebody just called now that the speedy dispensation of that justice is suspicious. Whereas, according to ACJA, the act that I spoke about, that is how it should be. You should not postpone a case beyond 2 weeks. And you should not, you should try cases concurrently, not postpone beyond 14 days. And then you should, when you want to try, you try it first day, second day, third day, and finish it. Why is it that the judicial system or the judiciary is not following it, and the lawyers are quiet as if nothing is happening? That's my question for Malaki.
Okay. In fact, both of them probably.
well, let me, and I think
briefly,
that is
because I know you can do a dissertation on this.
That's a very conscious Nigerian.
Yes.
But I think the way he landed shows that he's not a lawyer. I'm not saying this to undermine him. The Administration of Criminal Justice Act is with respect to criminal proceedings. That act came into effect on the 13th of May, 2015, which was a parting gift by the Jonathan administration. He's correct in all of his observations, including the fact that you cannot seek for adjournment more than 5 times throughout the duration of a proceedings. And indeed, the daily proceedings are recommended with respect to criminal trial. I have done that, and it can be very, very tedious, but result-oriented. Lawyers are already observing it. Judges are already implementing it, particularly those who are dominus litis in their courts, fully in charge. And it's happening with respect to criminal matters. Now, the distinction he has to draw is that when you come and bring a civil matter in a court, there's what we call affidavit of urgency. That alone can take away 1 full week or 2 weeks, sometimes 1 full month from the delay that could occur in cases where you don't have that affidavit of urgency. And it lies within the discretion of the judge to concede that, yes, indeed, there is some urgency here or not. Secondly, if you proceed without the corresponding bottlenecks that usually will come either by way of objections, preliminary objections, in limine, you are likely going to have these things sorted out within a shorter time than those other cases in which a preliminary objection can take you up to Court of Appeal before you come back to the same trial court to continue. So there are quite a number of factors.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for explaining the complication of all of this. That's the way the law, we talked about the wheels of justice grinding as they will. Mr. Jinodu in the UK, good morning.
Oh, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. At times, when we look into inward of what is going on in Nigeria, it is very sickening. And the judiciary are not helping out at all. I will tell you exactly, especially the judges. We masses that have been calling in we've been explaining ourselves on what is going on down there. The problem I think we have is the stomach infrastructure. That is, when you don't have things, you don't have no job, you don't have things to eat. I mean, it will be very difficult for you to go out there and vote these people out. And especially the way the National Assembly is being conducted in terms of suspension. How much have they spent on pursuing these cases? And when the judges come out and say this is not right, go back to the National Assembly and nullify the suspension. Why do they have to go back to the Supreme Court again?
The Court of Appeal.
A lot of these people, and I will mention category, Saraki himself managed that General Society Trust Bank. What has he done with it? It's collapsed. Is it the same thing we are going on in Nigeria? In the National Assembly?
Well, thank you very much.
You need to be wise. And Uncle Lori, you are a journalist. I live in UK. You live in Nigeria. You people, get yourself as together and educate our people more intensively so that they will know their rights, my brother. Thank you very much, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much, sir, for calling in. This point harps back to what Malaki said earlier, Fasi, about the people, you know. So
you remember, I've always talked about the followership dimension.
This matter about educating the people, how is that going to happen unless by evolution?
Evolution?
Yes,
evolution has never helped us.
Well,
the other alternative, we cannot preach. We only pray.
We cannot.
We only pray that someday, sometime, but not too far away, our people will know. Because the followership is the problem. Come March next year, you see them, this is our time.
Yes.
50 naira, 100 naira, 200 naira.
Yes.
Then post-May next year, they start to suffer the same thing.
You know, part of the problem...
But he advocated that, look, the change can only be brought about by the middle class.
Yeah, the comfortable middle class.
Remember, if you read Awolowo's book, he says that you cannot be a poor man and be talking about effecting any changes.
He said use the instrument of capitalism to fight.
Yeah, because this, look, somebody who hasn't gotten food to eat in the morning, you want that person to queue up to vote from morning till 2 o'clock. Some base are thrown at him.
It's unlikely.
He takes it, and that's where we find ourselves.
Okay. Raymond is on the line. Good morning, Raymond.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Yuri.
Thank you for calling in, sir.
Okay. Yuri, my name is Raymond. I'm calling from Enugu.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I like your discussion. Yes, I like your discussion. And one thing I want to say is that, you see, we have not been fair to the legislators.
Okay.
I'm talking of National Assembly. We have not been fair to them.
Okay, how's that?
You see, for you us to discuss them very well, we should be able to situate them with that of the executive. We situate the two components of the government and discuss them. I want to let you know, Senator Omo-Agege invaded the Senate chambers and removed the Senate nest and went away. Have you asked yourself, how did Mr. Omo-Agege, within 24 hours, got court injunction? He should not be arrested. He should not be prosecuted within 24 hours. Have you asked yourself again, how did the Omo-Agege again got another judgment, restating him back to the Senate? One thing I want to say on my own is that if we want to make Nigeria good, our president should not be approbating and reprobating. In one instance, you want the judiciary to give you express judgment. In the other way again, you want to arrest the judiciary. What happened to Omo-Agege up till now for invading that chambers of Senate? And Mr. Yuri, I like you so much. I've been watching you from channel today, this year present office. But I want to tell you something. You are still not fair to National Assembly when you brought my friend Malaki and the other man again, who are having the same view. They are having the same view. If you want to bring people to discuss their platform, you should be able to bring people who are having different views. So they should be able to present to Nigerians
Okay.
Vote day one.
Okay.
And the two persons you brought, both of them are having the same view. You mentioned National Assembly. My friend Malaki wants to kill National Assembly. The doctor wants to kill National Assembly. You should be able to balance it.
But we also make sure that Raymond will have a chance of calling in.
Life.
Yes, please.
It is Raymond now that is regulating inside here.
Invite me for next week. I can come and discuss.
Okay, Raymond in Enugu, thank you very, very much for calling in. I think the point you're making.
We understand the point
yes.
he made. But the point he made is this. It's just that today we are speaking together.
It so happens.
Myself, like most times we don't agree.
You're not on the same page.
Even most times myself and Yori, we don't agree.
Exactly.
If we had introduced a topic relating to the executive, then we'll be taking a different position.
Yeah.
Today we're discussing the national...
But also, Raymond himself out there
Yes.
knows that he at any time can call in, will not be censored, and he will say what he wants to say.
And you should know that, look, unless he's saying that the executive is telling the judiciary what to do, because I mean this has nothing to do with the executive.
No problem.
Besides, the point to be made is this: there's no stretch of evidence yet to link Omo-Agege with the snatching of the mace.
Yes.
So we are not a court of law.
So,
and even the evidence given by the sergeant at the time, he said there was a conspiracy between legislators, not one. Legislators and the security agencies.
Okay, let me go back. I have just a few minutes now, but I wanted to go back to this whole problem about why do we, the people, well, the public, why do we stand for all these shenanigans going on in the National Assembly?
In Nigeria generally.
Yes. Are you sure that we know, and we know deep down that what they're doing is wrong? That is enough of us. It's all right for you intellectuals to know that it is wrong, but that's not where the power is. It's not with the intellectuals when it comes to democracy. So are you sure that those people out there who are the base of the pyramid and the strongest voice when it comes to putting someone in office actually see anything wrong with what they're doing? They don't know, perhaps. That's my theory, that they don't know that this is not the way to run affairs.
Direct answer. They do know.
You think?
Yes.
Do they have the capacity to drive it through? No. Must we therefore focus on building the critical mass?
Which you people have been trying.
Which you,
Committee for the Defense of Human Rights has been on this matter for, what, decades?
Including the media.
Yes.
This is somebody calling as far from Enugu. Yes, I schooled University of Nigeria Enugu campus, where I can't remember Mr. George, but people have been monitoring you all the days, I mean, as a journalist in this country.
That's right.
Therefore, the truth is that as we make conscious, deliberate efforts to build the critical mass, sufficient enough to alter the equation,
yes,
we are also faced with the corresponding challenge of dealing with that against the backdrop of the increasing hunger, deprivation,
poverty,
inflation, poverty, and all of these kind of
My final position on this whole discourse is to say that the legislature, not minding what my friend George is insisting on, must live under the law and not above the law. The reason is that by section 63 of the Constitution, these people are mandated to sit at least 181 days. Section 63. Now they have given a punishment to their own member for 190 days before they remember that, no, we should make it 90.
And Saraki was actually now appealing, say, please, let us reduce it. Let us reduce it.
Their standing rule, as every person now knows, insists that you must not do this in more than 14 days, together with all the cases I've mentioned, from Aton Zeribe, Ndume, Dino Melayo, Dano, and all of that.
I've heard that complaint from commentators that we Nigerians refuse to learn from history. Now, this particular instance, do you also agree that I was thinking that people don't know that this is not the way to behave. Only the intellectuals know. Only the academics know.
Everybody knows.
They know.
They complain silently.
But they will not. But when it comes to complain with your votes, they will not comply.
They will not.
And so, can you really know?
It is because of what our friend Fayoshe, he propounded a thesis, stomach infrastructure. And that stomach infrastructure can only take you maximum of 24 hours. Because if you eat today, over tomorrow. And that is the key issue is that of poverty, greed, and avarice in this Nigerian society. Nigerians are not patient enough to really think that, look, if I take care of today, what about tomorrow?
So the orientation is, I mean, so how are we going to, we're stuck.
I'm going to change all that.
We are caught in the web,
Okay.
in the voctors.
Ishaq, good morning, Ishaq in Jos, I believe. Good morning.
Good morning, Officer.
Thank you for calling.
Your guest. I'm Ishaq, Imam. I think the causes of this shenanigans is an embarrassment to the whole nation. We don't need all these. 18 years of democracy, we're still, our legislatures are not helping matters. It boils down to virtually a selfish interest. That's why some of us advocate for unicameral legislation. Let's adopt unicameral legislation. We don't need about 500 legislatures, the National Assembly, now wasting several billions of naira on yearly basis.
Yes. Do we need 2 houses? In fact, that's another question.
We don't need bicameral legislation. I advocate for unicameral. And there is need to review downward the allowances and salaries. That's my take. Have a wonderful day.
Indeed. Thank you very much. We've completely run out of time, but I don't know. There's probably a little more to add, seeing as we don't have the time. We just hope that this whole matter about doing things the right way, I don't know, you say we know, but that it is infrastructure, stomach infrastructure.
There's always something I've said in every forum I've found myself. Nigerians, beware of the eyes of Marsh. Nigerians, beware of what happened in Tripoli. Beware of what happened in Algiers.
So you're not among those who say, maybe Malaki can take this, that it can never happen here.
How can you say that?
With stomach infrastructure?
No.
Look, there's a time when stomach infrastructure won't work anymore.
No. You see, it was doubted in Liberia that it will never happen there.
Okay.
Yes.
Until people saw their siblings killed from hunger, women raped. By the time a 13-year-old boy will carry rifles taller than himself.
We just hope that, as we are saying,
there is
we never
PVC
come
revolution.
to that, that we ourselves can sort ourselves out.
He was scared that you cannot have revolution.
Yes, yes.
But I'm saying there is PVC revolution. There is
Exactly.
peaceful mass revolution.
Because
completely run out of time. Dr. Fasi Yusuf, as always, we thank you. Mr. Malaki Ugumadu, we're appreciative, as always. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, then. So that's our program. Please join us on Monday for a fresh edition in the fresh week. And have a great weekend. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.